you know, it's really interesting that this is a whole network, like a really big consolidated effort all across the world with so many different locations for the labs. How are you going to make sure that they don't become silos in themselves working in the region? How are you going to help facilitate knowledge sharing across these labs to make sure that lessons from Senegal, you know, feed into issues being solved in Bangladesh?
Mm-hmm. This is an excellent question. I can't say that we've completely figured it out. I think we're seeing this in terms of like concentric circles, right? So we have the like core 60 that we really need to focus our resources and attention on because we need to build something there, right? And we talk to them every week in a Scrum call. We've set up, we're not using Slack, we're using Teams because it's in the Microsoft suite, but actually it's really a lot like Slack, and it's great as a sort of communication channel. We're really kind of pushing and promoting peer-to-peer learning as much as we can. But that's within the 60, right? Then we have sort of the wider UNDP, and then we have, you know, the wider innovation community, you know, outside that, and beyond that, even the you know, development world. So the networked learning is really key. Again, I don't think we have a panacea. We're just looking at, we're trying to figure out kind of how to accelerate the rate of learning, right? So to really almost move from like, you know, a situation where there's annual planning and annual reflection and annual evaluation to something much more real time. I don't know if it's every week, but definitely, you know, every month or something like that. So, but that would be underpinned by kind of weekly reflections and things like that. But we're really trying to, it's a little bit of the sort of agile Scrum approach used in software development, but modified for social development. And from there, we need to figure it out. I mean, I think by having enough of, we hope that the protocols give enough direction to determine what we're trying to learn. You know, there are multiple areas of collective intelligence which are unsolved mysteries, right? Like, I think one of the questions in Slido is even alluding to that. It's great to open up for participatory methods, but how do you change what you're actually doing based on that, right? Sometimes our funding is tied to certain objectives and we can't just follow a different lead because that's what people want, or that's what the collective intelligence is telling you. So if we were to identify that as sort of a learning objective, let's say, so how do we remain flexible to respond to collective intelligence that's out there, even though sometimes our funding is tied to certain agendas? That would be sort of a question that we posed across the network, and we would, you know, deepen the learning from there.